Everyone. Tragedies and catastrophes occur at times, bringing humanity at the brink of survival. One such thing is Curse of Faces. So today, I'll tell you about game will become faceless, to lift the curse from the world. For I'm Cringelord, and this video is about Verho Curse of Faces. The gameplay of Verho is rather simplistic. Core mechanics will remind you about some old RPGs. Just slay your enemies and move further to meet your fate. Your adventure will start with the choice of mask. It resembles the choice of your life story, level, and base stats. You'll be surprised, but there's no such thing as a class in Verho. You'll be able to utilize everything, but only if your stats will allow it. There are 6 main stats: Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, Intelligence, Force, and Resistance. Force is equivalent of mana. Resistance is your protection against statuses. Except the usual scaling, Strength, Dexterity, and Resistance raise your HP. Not as much as Constitution, but still. Intelligence does the same for mana. Quite an interesting decision, and a good one at the same time. Makes your life a bit easier. So make a decision and march forward to meet your fate. The first and the most difficult thing on your journey will be equipping the sword you get at the start. Basics are explained properly, except how to open menu to manage your weapons, goods, and magic. It is solved with just pressing tab. That's the only thing that can confuse you. Raise your sword and you are ready to fight your way through. First enemies won't pose you much threat, but quite soon things will change. Once you progress a bit further, you'll see that they start to have some nasty tricks up their sleeve. The diversity of enemies is quite good. Some of course are same modified, stronger and recolored versions. Some have different or modified skill set. So this is a place for a surprise. Of course there will be bosses. Some are optional, some are story related. Unexpectedly you'll find that they have different mechanics, and each doesn't copy other, except something like 2 or 3 bosses out of all quantity. They'll provide you with a decent level of challenge, but nothing extreme, nothing to worry about. There are items to assist you on your journey ahead, different kinds of 2-handed and 1-handed weapons, shields, daggers, bows, crossbows, magic, and orbs that amplify spell damage. There are magic rings that grant you different effects. You can use up to 4. Except that you can find utility items like potions, consumables, powders that add elemental damage, arrows and bolts. You won't have a whole warehouse of different goods. Just pretty basic things for an RPG. You'll travel through many locations that hide a lot of loot, and that encourage you to explore them. Just go, look behind the corner, or hit the wall, and you may find something useful. There's also a rare loot which you can get from enemies, which includes weapons and rings. But exploration here is not only about fighting and looting. There are also puzzles, which will allow you to get weapons like Moonblade, Spellblade Sword, or Aspect Ruler. That way, Verho encourages you to explore its world, and rewards you nicely for it, just how it should be in good RPG. Devs of Verho decided to use quite an idea for the basis of the game plot, but that's just top of the iceberg. You take role of someone or a nobody who happened to travel to the region named Yariv due to the reasons known to you. This land is infamous for the events of the past that resulted in a curse being cast upon the world. The key to lifting the curse and its source are believed to be found there, but no one has ever succeeded or returned back. So you step into the region unknown, but what happens next results in you waking up in the dream where you're supposed to remember yourself. Once succeeded, you wake up again, now in the real world, just right before the rockfall. Now there's no way back, just forward, to meet your fate. As you progress, you'll discover the history of the world, which is concealed from those living outside. The story of Verho will tell you about terrible events that befell upon Yariv, about those who traveled there and couldn't leave, about those who lived there for their whole life, about the way people were able to survive and not extinct. about the price for trying to be a god, failure, and the consequences of it. You'll meet companions whose complicated fate led them to Yaru. Each bears a burden, has a story, motivation, and goal. You'll help them, and they will help you. They will slowly become your brothers in arms. Everything you will accomplish will lead to two outcomes or one secret ending. Getting it without guides is pretty crazy, but I won't spoil it for you. The way story and side stories are built will remind you of Dark Souls, but only remind and won't be. That is actually good and doesn't nullify efforts invested in what you are doing. The visuals of Verho may not look very modern, even though they are. The whole thing creates an impression of old-fashioned game, and even brings some sense of nostalgia. Verho is that one rare time when you don't need fancy graphics to create good atmosphere. Somehow everything feels so natural and mysterious at the same time. The world is very diverse with locations. There are 20 of them, and every is unique. Some even vary in inner zones: mountain passes, caves, ruins, city, graveyards, sewers, temples, and many more. So, there's plenty to explore, many things and views to see, including enemies. Their looks resemble their behavior. Some can irritate you, some surprise, some even give you a good spook. What you'll be looking at most of the time are weapons or weapons and magic. You won't be disappointed. There are plenty dope looking weapons and spells. There are also NPCs. Their design is quite minimalistic due to how graphics are. But the decision to use masks for all characters and explain it story-wise is a good idea. It adds a bit of mystery, and you don't need to design faces to fit well into character. Now let's talk about the issues the game has. There's a good amount of them. There's nothing critical. You'll be able to complete the game even if you'll miss them. The first one is the issue of balance. Games usually have this one. I expected magic to be strong, like it's usually powerful in games, except rare cases. Choosing it here will decrease difficulty of the game. How so? Well, you can equip 2 weapons and 5 spells. Enemies have different weaknesses, so magic gives you a variety of elements to use. Upgrading weapons is a bit expensive, and will require you to grind. It's not as easy as just purchasing a spell and starting using it from that point. Melee combat remains effective, and it's more fun, but more difficult than magic. The second one is the issue with enemies, their attacks, range zones, and their ability to move through textures. It's not a constant problem, but quite noticeable. That can be understandable in regard to ghost enemies, but when others have it, it's quite a surprise. Some attacks ignore textures. There are rare AoE attacks that cover whole ground. They damage at certain heights. If the mob is above or below you, then it won't damage. Some enemy attacks are lethal. You won't be able to survive them, at least if you don't have any protection. Despite that, combat remains doable. Whole issue just adds a bit of difficulty out of nowhere and can make you reload a few times. Third one is related to traps. You can meet them several times throughout the whole game. But man, they're so broken at heretical path. To trigger them, you need to get close to them. Triggering zones are very random there. One unlucky move and you may die. They don't just damage you once, they do it per second, and slow you down. You may not even react to drink potion. It's just a few zones, but again, it can make you reload a few times. The next one is that it's sometimes easy to get lost. Verho doesn't have fancy modern solutions such as map, markers, or quest journal. Quite old school. So, you may find yourself lost at times, like it happened to me when looking for Ice Dimension. Not much of an issue, but for some it can be. The last one is not much of an issue. The game is fully voiced. That's great actually. But the voice acting is rather amateur to such extent that it can give you a laugh at times. But some actors did really well. Still, it's commendable that the game has it. What can I say? Verho is a good RPG, made in the tradition of games such as Dark Souls, but it's less global and more simplistic. Yeah, it's not Dark Souls by all means, just an inspired game. and honestly it turned out to be quite good. Yeah, the game has issues and plenty, but they're not critical or drastic. Verho offers you a variety of ways to play. Be skillful or just grind your way towards victory. That way it can satisfy those who would like an increased difficulty, and casual players who just would like to see game till the end. Fighting is nice and not complicated. Mechanics are pretty clear. No boss will make you stuck with him for hours. Verho is pretty chill. Good for taking a break from difficult games, but it's not deprived of difficulty at the same time. Verho is mostly gameplay based game, but the role of the story is not minor here. It's quite interesting, creative and engaging. The plot of the game is nice. Lore-wise, the game is very consecutive and worked through. Like, you might scroll be stolen at a certain point of game. Until you returned it back, seeing other characters will result in game over. It complicates gameplay a bit, but so cool from many perspectives. There is some Souls influence in the plot, which I always find questionable, but that's just subjective. Locations are nice, there's a lot to explore. I haven't seen many games that motivate you to explore every corner. Some may find certain locations a bit empty-ish, and they would be right. But the whole atmosphere won't make you pay attention to it. Verho is far from being a great game, but it's done with certain love and soul put into it. It compensates the drawbacks the game has. Well, the base price of the game is $20. I find it rather overpriced. For it you'll get approximately 12 to 18 hours of gameplay for one walkthrough. There is certain replayability since there are two endings and a secret one. You probably won't be able to save one character during first walkthrough, so seeing his story till the end can be a motivation to replay. Still, 20 feels a bit expensive. During sale it's 16. That's just that time when it's not a win, but that's for you to decide if you can go with it. Despite everything, game is good and I recommend you to check it out, or at least watch the walkthrough. I thank you for watching, and I would like to know, did you play this game? What do you think about it? Do you consider it a good game? Let me know in the comment section below. I fare you well, and I'll see you in the next video.